Back after the long 4th of July weekend, it is the Dan O'Donnell Show, ready to roll on another busy broadcast week. 3 hours of broadcast excellence on the way, or at the very least, and let's face it, far more likely from this show, broadcast competence. Is Milwaukee World Festival Incorporated, the parent company of Summerfest, along with the Milwaukee Police Department and even the local media, trying their best to minimize the severity of hours worth of massive brawls that erupted on the Big Gig's final day on Saturday. We have got some eyewitness accounts plus videos that popped up all over social media as early as very late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, largely ignored by pretty much everyone except your humble host. That plus Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, visits President Trump at the White House later on this evening. If there is, as scheduled, a joint press conference, we will attempt to take at least a part of that live. Democrats attempting to cravenly politicize a devastating tragedy in Central Texas. And for the second time in 4 days, some nut attempts to shoot up an ICE facility. Just how much is left-wing rhetoric and constant comparisons to Nazis and the Gestapo and the like to blame. So a lot to get to. Before we get to any of it, though, your chance at $1,000 sizzling summer cash contest is actually going for another 3 weeks. We are playing every hour, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each weekday from now until July 25th. This hour's word is pay. P-A-Y. Pay. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website. That's newstalk1130.com. If you're listening to us on our flagship station, WISN in Milwaukee, or in Madison, it's WIBA.com. Listening to the great 1310 WIBA. This is what it sounded like at about 10:45 last night, just outside the Generac Power Stage, where there was a long lineup of hip-hop artists. The fists were flying. There were a number of people who were involved in this fight, and to call it a fight would be something of an understatement. There were dozens of people involved. At one point, some dude actually grabbed a garbage can and was trying to hit people over the head with it. This was as the noted rapper T Grizzly was performing at the Generac Power Stage. He was joined in an all-day lineup that started at 4:15 p.m. with the esteemed Ray Rizzy. Then at 5, it was Steve DeStoner. At 6 o'clock, 414 Big Frank. 7:15, Certified Trapper. At 8:15, Real Boston Richie performed. And then at 9:30, Mr. Grizzly. This was not the only incident, however. It is apparently the only incident that anybody was reporting on except for me. I obtained video from an organization that calls itself the Hispanic News Network. It posted a Facebook video of an even more massive brawl at about 5 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, just outside the Summerfest store, which is a big red building on the main drag of the Henry Meyer Festival Park grounds, right off of the main entrance in the middle of the park. I believe the next closest stage is the Miller Lite Oasis. There had to be 200 to 300 people involved in this, not all of them fighting, but creating a mob-like atmosphere. A number of people who were at Summerfest in the daytime and at night said this absolutely was out of control. Beer tents were shut down early near the Generac power stage. And in fact, at several other stages, as people were getting so rowdy, there was one beer tent worker, I'm not going to say where he was working, although it's fairly obvious what stage, who said that members of this mob attempted to jump over the stage and get at the cash registers, where not a lot of people pay with cash anymore. So maybe not the best thought out plan, but there were serious safety concerns for workers at this brawl scene. Now, Milwaukee World Festival did put out a statement to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, which did cover the incident, although it was rather odd. I was the first to put out a tweet explaining just how severe this was, that people were being let out early. I believe Mr. Grizzly was asked to wrap up his set early because, at least I understand, that Milwaukee World Festival has not yet gotten back to me. They put out a blanket statement to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Now, I had a number of people who were down there and said even brawls that weren't captured on video, or at least weren't captured on video and then uploaded to a publicly available Facebook page or TikTok or X or something like that, where someone like me could get their hands on it. Someone that I know in my personal life was actually just walking past when a fight started right next to him. And before he knew it, there were about 15 to 20 people throwing fists. And a whole lot more people were sort of jumping in, screaming at each other, sort of egging the combatants on. But Milwaukee World Festivals, which again runs Summerfest, only put out the following statement. Summerfest security, with support from Milwaukee Police Department officers, quickly brought these under control. Summerfest does not tolerate any type of behavior that could affect patrons, artists, staff, and partners. Fighting, harassment, or any disruptive actions are strictly prohibited and will result in immediate removal from the festival grounds. Now, I was told that as much as security officials and Milwaukee police officers who were on the scene and then called to the scene were able to keep these crowds under control, they did. That security did an admirable job, but both they and the responding officers were dramatically outnumbered. In fact, Channel 12, WISN 12, Milwaukee's ABC affiliate, no affiliation with WISN radio, as I always explain, just sort of made mention of the fact in passing at the end of their on-air report on the 10 o'clock news last night that the nighttime brawl lasted for more than 20 minutes. That's not a brawl. That's a full-on melee. As far as I can see, only Channel 12 appears to have done any sort of on-air television story on this. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, jsonline.com, did feature a reasonably small article on this, which is no longer up at jsonline.com. The only, at least at the front page, I should say, jsonline.com, the only story about Summerfest was the 25 best concerts we saw at Summerfest 2025 and 8 biggest letdowns. Admittedly, Summerfest 2025 seems to have been highly successful, save for this, the second straight weekend marred by violence. There were also fights that broke out during the second weekend of Summerfest as well. Now, you'll recall Summerfest years ago went from 10 straight days, Thursday through the following Sunday, to then 11 days, taking just the Monday off, to post-COVID going to 3 consecutive weekends, dropping from 11 days down to 9. I guess it was never 10. They started on the Wednesday night. I had forgotten about that. Summerfest, when they skipped the Monday, they didn't open up on Thursday. They opened up on Wednesday. So it was still an 11-day festival. It was 11 consecutive days. So the second weekend was also marred by multiple fights. Very short story at jsonline.com sounds to me like it's being somewhat sanitized. Now, this might be acceptable if the paper didn't have a reporter on scene or there wasn't video evidence of just how severe this was. There was video evidence. Does this sound like, given and if you haven't seen the videos, I would strongly encourage you to head to @Dan Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. We uploaded all of them yesterday morning. That's why, by the way, you do need to follow me on social media if you're not already. If I'm not on the air, and even when I'm on the air, I don't go on until 3 p.m. Oftentimes, I will break big stories like this on my social media. So please do follow me at Dan O'Donnell Show everywhere. Listen to this sanitized version of what happened. Multiple fights broke out at Summerfest Saturday, July 5th, near the Generac stage where T Grizzly was headlining. 2 fights were caught on video and uploaded to Facebook, the first being earlier in the evening in front of the Summerfest store, showing multiple fights ensuing at the same time. What do you call multiple fights ensuing at the same time? Melee, brawl, skirmish, urban warfare, insurrection. Producer Eric says if it happens, well, only at the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Happens at the Wisconsin Capitol in 2011. Nope, no insurrection there. When they take over the Minnesota Capitol because the Minnesota State Legislature might force men out of women's bathrooms, they take that over. Not an insurrection. So it was not a Summerfest insurrection. Multiple fights ensuing at the same time. Now, sadly, I don't have the ability. I guess technically I do, the ability to show you on the live stream. It's just very difficult. I'm kind of a one-man band here doing a radio show and also sort of producing a live stream television show as well. I would strongly encourage you, go to my social media, look at the 2 videos, and tell me if there were multiple fights ensuing. A large crowd stood around the first fights, and Summerfest security guards intervened when the fighting started. The second fight, later in the evening on the festival's final night, showed more than 5 individuals punching and pushing each other while people stood in a circle around the fight. Security guards did not intervene immediately. The Milwaukee Police Department said they ejected 21 individuals from the grounds on July 5th and are still in the process of issuing citations. Then they relay the statement from Milwaukee World Festival, Inc. Summerfest said with the help of MPD, they monitor the grounds and review and update safety protocols on an ongoing basis. This is the second consecutive weekend the music festival organizers said they were aware of fights on the grounds. That's the entire story. You've got eyewitnesses that said these were going on for upwards of 20 minutes. I have got eyewitnesses who said there weren't just those 2 fights. There were at least a half a dozen to 10 to 15. And these were not fights like 2 guys just kind of get into it, one bumps into the other or something like that. These are brawls. These are people just going at it with big groups of people, other people jumping in. Now, it is not lost on me the type of music that was being played at the stage where all of the problems were located. That's right. Classical music. You see, one group of people who started the Brawls favored the Baroque style of composition, whereas another group favored the Rococo style. And words were exchanged, and before you know it, one dude is hitting the other in the face with a trash can. It was obviously hip-hop. I think you would have to be pretty blind not to connect the dots of more than 15 years of these sorts of events being marred by violence by young African-American males and females. And when I say 15 years, I mean it. You can go all the way back to a shooting at River Splash, which actually prompted organizers to cancel the whole darn thing in late 2009. That was for 20 years in downtown Milwaukee along our beautiful river, the kickoff to summer. Coming up after the break, we are going to go through all of these events in Milwaukee's summertime that have all faced massive violence, some of which was sanitized by the media, some of it was not. But all of it, I believe, has been downplayed in some form or fashion because of the unmistakable, unignorable racial component. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's a tour de force of truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Escape to poolside paradise at MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Sip on a refreshing cocktail. Lounge in a luxury cabana. Earn on nonstop fun with MGM Rewards. Book a sizzling summer escape today. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable, nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or our Brookfield store off I-94 and Blue Mound Road. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
When Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting, I personally guarantee your satisfaction with every step from shopping through installation. I'm Flawless Flooring's president, Dave Brownsdorf, and I approve this message. Sensory Underload, Flawless Flooring, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Family Dentistry, Cosmetic Whitening, Ross Dental Straight Smiles, and Full Sedation Dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission? Your comfort, health, and confidence.
Smile like you just don't care.
Because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit weatherproexteriors.com today.
Managed IT support from Central Office Systems is qualified technicians, answering your call within 1 minute. Grateful to support your business. Solving any IT problem as fast as humanly possible. Network security, network support. CentralOfficeSystems.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
The next generation is here.
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
Yeah. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Welcome back to it. Perhaps the only media personality in the state unafraid to state the obvious. We're going on 2 decades now of the same inner city elements marring pretty much every summer festival that we have, even Greek Fest of all things, with extreme acts of violence. What happened on Saturday was not just a small, isolated thing. A week ago, during Summerfest's second weekend, there were big brawls as well. Nothing like what eyewitnesses reported seeing pretty much throughout the day. There were rap acts at the Generac Power Stage from 4:15 on. Now, rap music is not inciting this type of violence. Let's just get that out of our heads right now. I can prove it. I was actually at a hip-hop show a week ago Friday night. Not by choice. Both of my teenage sons went. There was a big group of kids from their school. I was there. I let them walk around by themselves with their friends. And I was there. I was watching Cake for a little bit with a buddy of mine. We walked past the Smashing Pumpkins lead singer Billy Corgan with his side project. Stupidly didn't stop because I figured, he's going to play all songs. I don't know. He played pretty much every Smashing Pumpkins hit, so I was bummed. But I spent a good amount of time watching Offset from the hip-hop group Migos. Offset was one of the biggest acts in hip-hop. One of their members, Takeoff, was shot and killed in a bowling alley incident a few years back. The most famous member, Quavo, had a pretty successful solo career, so unlikely that they're going to continue. It'd sort of be like the Beatles continuing without John Lennon. You see, to reunite Migos without Takeoff. Well, it's absolutely nothing like that, except both of them got shot. The Beatles performed instruments and sang without auto-tune, but that's to take nothing away from Migos. I recognized some of the songs. There were no issues whatsoever at Offset. Why? Because most of the people there, just like my sons and their friends, were suburban kids or slightly older people, younger millennials who were down with the hip hop scene when Migos was big. Probably 2018, 2019 was probably at their peak. The rap groups that were booked on Saturday appealed to a more urban crowd. And I'm not going to beat around the bush here. It's a heavily African-American crowd. There were a lot of African-American teenagers at Migos as well. What happened? Why? This also isn't a race thing. Frankly, it's a class thing. There is an obvious racial component because the only time we see extreme mass violence at these sorts of things are when younger African-American teenagers are present. That is not a generality. I have gone through over the past 25 years of summertime violent incidents at festivals or celebrations. Everyone is the same common denominator. But again, there was a heavy African-American presence at Offset. What's the difference? A lot of suburban and higher class kids were there, both black and white. Make no mistake, there were a lot of white kids at the hip hop acts on Saturday night. They weren't brawling. There was a heavy metal show going on at the Uline warehouse. I know this because I accidentally typed the wrong stage. I typed Uline warehouse when I was thinking Generac power stage. And before I noticed it, like an hour or two had passed me. I'm like, no, it wasn't there. It was a metal group and there was no violence whatsoever. Yeah, exactly. Do you want me to go all the way back? How about let's go back all the way to 2008. Shootings at Milwaukee's River Splash in downtown Milwaukee. River Splash existed as a very cool kickoff to summer. I can remember going every single year because it was so fun. December 2009, organizers pulled the plug. Why? Inner city youths engaged in fighting and even a shooting at the previous year's River Splash.
The Riverwalk District says canceling River Splash was about a decline in sponsors and attendance.
The economics became a struggle for us in this environment, a real struggle.
Following several fights and gunfire in 2008, Alderman Bob Bauman agrees River Splash has run its course.
And I think the fact that there was some disorder 2 years ago indicates that, perhaps the event was just losing its edge.
Actually, I would say it's gained its edge, Bob. 2 years later, the infamous Wildin' Out incident at State Fair. Today's TMJ reporter Melissa McCready on the massive incident of violence in which black teenagers were allegedly singling out white State Fair goers for assault.
It all started behind me along the midway where we are told large, unruly crowds of teenagers picked fight after fight with innocent people. Then when State Fair closed for the night, they took the fight out here onto 84th Street, blocking the streets, and the chaos turned extremely violent. Police, sheriff's deputies cleared 84th Street of those large, unruly crowds. A Milwaukee police sergeant says witnesses say that at least 100 teenagers blocked traffic, causing pandemonium for people trying to get home. They were pounding on car windows, knocked people off their motorcycles, and one woman sitting at a red light with her window down was attacked through the window by people she didn't know.
At the same time this was going on, there were multiple incidents of extreme violence throughout the years at Summerfest, all connected with the same area that brought problems to State Fair Park, the Midway, which was in 2012 replaced with the BMO Harris Pavilion. Rides were gone from Summerfest, and while there was no official reason given as it pertained to violence, there were multiple incidents again of black teenagers rampaging through the park, attempting to attack white Summerfest goers. How do I know that? Because a bunch of members of my family were caught up into it. A couple of years after that, the Midway was gone. It wasn't just summer festivals, however, and these sorts of mob-style attacks have increased over the past 5 years. Do you remember what we have called the gunfight at the Water Street Corral following a Bucks playoff game? 17 people were shot. Miraculously, none of them killed on Water Street.
This happened just after 11 last night at Water and Juneau. And this is the Water Street Bar District, so it's filled with bars, restaurants. There are apartment there. Police say the 17 victims range from 15 to 47 years old. They're not telling us yet what started the shooting, but they do expect everyone to survive. And police say right now they have 10 people in custody. They found 9 guns. We'll keep you posted as new information comes in throughout the morning.
That was Fox 6, our news partners. The very next year, June 19th, 2023, a shooting at Milwaukee's Juneteenth Festival. Here's Channel 12.
We start at 6 with breaking news. A shooting near Milwaukee's Juneteenth celebration. The fire department confirms at least 5 people are hurt in the area of MLK Drive and Chambers. The festival grounds stretched from MLK and Keefe down to MLK and Locust, and just 1 block north of that is Chambers Street.
Just a week later, 1 week after the Juneteenth shooting, massive brawls prompted, again, the Midway to be closed down early at Greek Fest.
Greek Fest wrapped up its 58th annual weekend today, and the festival ended early after police say multiple fights broke out Saturday night. Officials say 4 people were arrested. Many others were kicked out. No one was seriously injured, but the chairs of Greek Fest closed early Saturday and tonight, also closing down the rides today. People at the festival's last day say something needs to change.
2 years later, it seems nothing has. State Fair appears to have learned its lesson. We reported exclusively a few months ago that the rapper / R&B singer T-Pain wanted to have a drag racing event at the Milwaukee Mile as part of his Wisconsin Fest concert. He wanted to have carnival rides and something for the patrons to do instead of just watching street racing. The State Fair organizers said absolutely not. They saw what had happened during Greek Fest, and incidentally, this event was to take place the exact same weekend at Greek Fest. Now, I'm not saying anything needs to change per se. Summerfest is about as secure with metal detectors and a large security and police presence that one can find. But how about this? Instead of simply throwing out these youths from the festival, throw the book at them. These are assaults. If you go to my social media, what you will see is about as antisocial behavior as you could find. River Splash is already gone. Summerfest has already been forced to make huge changes, ripping out the Midway because of this. I hate to say, stop booking hip-hop groups that don't appeal to people like me. Bone Thugs and Harmony was supposed to be there, had to back out because of an illness or a prior commitment or something like that. Suffice it to say, my 44-year-old older millennial and Gen X brothers and sisters aren't going to start a massive brawl when Nelly is performing. And I think Nelly actually was after a Milwaukee Brewers game a week or two ago. When you have music, unfortunately, that brings together a lot of kids from the inner city, the overwhelming majority happen to be Black, bad things happen. And I think Summerfest organizers need to think long and hard. As I said, hip-hop music doesn't cause this. Hip-hop music merely causes people who are very, very likely to commit extreme acts of violence and disrupt an entire massive festival. How many times over how many years have we needed to see it happen before organizers need to say, okay, enough is enough? We'll have much more on this. Plus, we'll get to the Unhinged Liberal of the Day. Check in with Dave Spano as well. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about Accunet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no required. The sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today. .com.
Hi, I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. Life can move fast or slow or somewhere in between. So when you want to sell your home, we're here to work on your schedule. Whether you need to close in 10 days or need more time to get things in order, we'll make it happen. Our process is designed around your needs. We'll buy your home completely as is, no matter the condition. At Grandview Homes, we know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer on your schedule. That's why our offers don't expire, as long as your home and the market stay the same. Whether you have a family home, condo, or rental property in Greater Milwaukee, we're here to help you sell confidently and on your timeline. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today. grandviewhomes.com.
Honey, I want to look at organizing our house better. We need to make more space to get organized. I can't seem to find anything around here. Nothing is organized, and the garage is an absolute mess. You know, the neighbors just had tailored closets come in, and they loved the results. We should give them a call.
I agree. The kids seem to leave everything everywhere because there's no defined organized space. That sounds like a great plan. You get the closets redone and organized. I get my garage organized with an awesome garage floor.
Deal.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Almost 15 years ago, I had the tailored closet featuring Premier Garage do my epoxy garage floor, garage cabinets, and my closets in my home. I was so impressed with the results. We bought the company and added it to our existing growing business. Let us help you. Give us a call for a free consultation at 262-875-3010. That's 262-875-3010. Or visit us online at premiergarage.com. That's premiergarage.com.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investor Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The two main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the two areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi. Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like iHeart Comedy. Clips from today's top comedians.
I didn't learn about countries in school. I learned about Tennessee. I learned about the states that touched us in case they attacked.
And the greatest of all time.
So don't even tell me how to get to Sesame Street. Who would want to live in a neighborhood like that? 6-foot pigeons walking around.
Try something different. iHeart Comedy.
Women are gatherers. We like to gather information about you, and then we hunt you.
Open the app and make iHeart Comedy a preset now.
Years ago, I was at Summerfest for a hip-hop duo that plays a lot of our bumper music on the Dan O'Donnell Show, called Black Violin. There were a whole lot of black families in the audience. They are two classically trained violinists who play incredible classical music infused with hip-hop, EDM. I'm a huge fan. In fact, a number of our listeners met us out there. It was a wonderful meet and greet event, just sort of impromptu. I went with my family. It was great. Weirdly enough, not a single incident of violence. Unlike what you just heard, the massive brawls from Saturday night when, what's the guy's name? T. Grizzly Adams, Grizzly T, Grizzly G. How have I already forgotten this guy's name? T. Grizzly, supported by Real Boston Richie, Certified Trapper, 414 Big Frank, Steve DeStoner, and Ray Rizzy. There was a lot less rizzing going on in the Summerfest crowd than there was brawling. Rizzing, for those not in the know who might not have teenage kids. To rizz up somebody, to rizz up a girl is to talk to her. It's short for charisma. If you have a lot of riz, you have a lot of charisma. I dare say I have the most riz in the conservative talk radio game. Well, it's either me or Mark Levin. I don't know. The ladies can't help themselves when he starts, what are you doing, you big dope? See, that's true riz. After him, it probably is me. What you want to do to stop this, it's sadly simple. You cannot book acts that appeal to 17-year-old inner city, predominantly black teenagers. Now, if you do this, as a number of listeners point out on our adventknows.com talk and text line, you'll of course be called racist. And look, listen to my bumper music, folks. Listen to my extensive knowledge of hip hop straight up through probably about the year 2020. I don't know. I think it was when I turned about, probably 2021. When I turned 40, I made it longer than most dudes. Most dudes turn like 19 and they just never listen to another new song. It's like whatever they were listening to as teenagers. How dudes mostly are. I love music. I love new music. I don't know what it was. I turned 40, listened to way more talk radio, listened to way more classical. I was turning into simultaneously my father and Rush Limbaugh's father, I think. My dad loved listening to opera. He would, after work, he would have his speakers blaring outside. Before they invented the Beats pill, he actually had a giant speaker system that he would put out his bedroom window and blast either opera music or, I kid you not, Gregorian chant while he sipped wine and read the Milwaukee Journal. Yes, Gregorian chant. There was like 15 weeks where America was really into Gregorian chant in the 90s. It was an era that you just kicked out or arrested because they're going to beat the hell out of somebody because they disrespected them. What you need to do is to limit your exposure to, let's face it, non-desirable patrons. And when they do show up and commit criminal acts, don't pretend that these are acts which just lead to them being removed. These are crimes. They need to be treated as such. Unfortunately, Summerfest is in Milwaukee, and we don't treat crimes like crimes. Dave Spano coming up next. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
15 minutes northbound on 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope. Southbound just under 20. Over on 43 northbound between the Marquette and Brown Deer. No delays through the left lane road work. And southbound, you got a 20-minute trip heavy center. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Stay connected and stay productive with Rapid Radios. Business owners trust Rapid Radios for instant, reliable team communication with nationwide LTE coverage, push-to-talk convenience, and room for up to 200 units on one feed. Keeping connected's never been easier. Order now at rapidradios.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. If it seems rain hangs around your home coming down as insidiously delicate droplets or in buckets, and if neither, rain tends to lurk suspiciously in the atmosphere around your house, you probably have a wet, mildewy, leaky basement with cracked walls. No basement wall or foundation repair is too big or small for Ryan Waterproofing. We won't be the most expensive. The larger the job, the more you'll save with Ryan. We've eliminated bowed walls, cracks, spalling, seepage, and flooding in Coast Guard stations, museums, and countless Wisconsin homes. Ryan's waterproofing experts show up on time and do exactly what we say we're going to do, eliminating your water problems, restoring your home, even ending your negative obsession with rain. Imagine looking out the window for rainbows rather than obsessing about your basement walls and floors next time, every time it rains. Free estimates, affordable financing. Because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing, call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Charged with an OWI, it's not just a ticket. It's on your record permanently and can affect your career or your ability to travel. One mistake shouldn't ruin your life. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. GrieveLaw.com.
I'm Art Flater of Central Office Systems. Any business can be brought to its knees by thieves and IT hackers.
Chris Rozecki here. The IT guy you've known since high school doesn't have the resources to protect your organization.
Central Office Systems is the small business IT company that understands cyber with resources to back up your network.
Does your team work outside the hours of 8 to 5? Does your IT company do the same without nickel and diming you? Central Office Systems Systems. No nickeling, no diming.
You hear those injured ads? Cameras with good resolution working properly cut down on injuries. Cameras deter thieves. Cameras deter scammers. Cameras that work.
With Central Office Systems Managed Network Support, a qualified technician grateful for the opportunity to solve your issue answers the phone within 1 minute.
Camera systems, network security, network support.
Have insurance? Will that satisfy your customers while your company's crucial business functions are zero for a week or two? Real Insurance is utilizing an IT service provider who secures your computers from ever going down.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood. Or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. We've spent 15 years helping families move forward with integrity at the heart of everything we do. After all, this isn't just a house we're talking about. It's where memories were made and irreplaceable moments occurred. Our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today. grandviewhomes.com.
Erica, it's good to see you.
How are things at our amazing Germantown location? Absolutely fantastic.
We heard you had a bold idea. What is it?
We're celebrating our 45th year in business, so I think we should give away some natural diamonds.
Wow, that is a bold idea. How many and how big?
3/4 of a carat. 9 natural diamonds, each one clarity enhanced for maximum brilliance. 1 diamond for each store.
How should we mount them, Erica?
We'll give them away as diamond pendants.
So each of the 9 Kessler stores will have their own diamond pendant to give away?
Yeah, and all a person will have to do is to walk into a store and register to win.
Can a person travel to all 9 stores and register at each one?
Yeah, why not? And people will have from now until July 28th to register.
I'm in.
Me too. It's unanimous, and people should bring in all their old jewelry so that we can professionally clean it for them for free. That makes so much difference.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
We'll get to the unhinged liberal of the day in the next hour. It perfectly sets up a topic that we have to get to, the increased violence against ICE agents. A suspect shot while trying to attack ICE agents in McAllen, Texas this morning. We get to Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management, to help you know the difference. Of course, the big story today, Dave, the one big beautiful bill in the rearview mirror, and now it is all about tariffs, right?
Yeah, that's right. So that's exactly right. So, making the tax cuts permanent, expanding of the estate's tax provisions, no tax on tips, change in taxation on overtime, Social Security, expensing of small business taxes. All of this stuff is going to be really good for the economy, the growth policies that we talked about. But you and I spent a lot of time this year saying we're going to move from the fiscal policy onto other ideas such as trade policy, monetary policy. That is all in front of us right now. Trade will take up all of the air for the next 30 days or so. And then lastly, of course, monetary policy. That meeting is at the end of July. Pay attention because it has a big effect on your retirement plan. This Wednesday, Dan, now that the big beautiful bill is on law, we are going to have a webinar this Wednesday, 10 a.m., the Big Beautiful Bill, Impact on Your Taxes and Retirement. If you're interested, you go to events.annexwealth.com and register, and we'll walk through all of the questions that you might have.
Once again, that is events.annexwealth.com. annexwealth.com this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you to Dave Spano. Always head to annexwealth.com. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will be right back after the news.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Young. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon, I'm Dave Michaels. The FBI is investigating an attack on federal agents at a Texas Border Patrol facility earlier this morning. Fox's Jonathan Hunt.
The attacker opened fire early this morning outside a Border Patrol annex in McAllen in what Fox is told was clearly a planned ambush. Border Patrol and local police returned fire, hitting and killing the shooter, who was armed with an assault rifle. The Border Patrol facility was left riddled with bullet holes. Police identified the shooter as Ryan Lewis Mosqueda, 27 years old, with links to Michigan and Texas.
And we're learning exactly where the state budget will be funding high-priority projects for the universities of Wisconsin.
The 2025-27 state budget includes $194.5 million for Phase 2 of UW La Crosse's Prairie Springs Science Center and demolition of Crawley Hall. $189.3 million goes towards renovations at UW Milwaukee's Health Sciences Center. UW-Madison gets $5 million to plan for eventual demolition and replacement of the Moss Humanities Building. At the Capitol, Bob Haig, Wisconsin Radio Network.
The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow down today 422 points. The Nasdaq dropped 188 while the S&P lost 49. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, it's the Brewers and Dodgers tonight at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Cooler this afternoon with temperatures only in the low 70s lakeside and around 80 inland. More clouds tonight with lows in the 60s, then scattered showers and thunderstorms possible Tuesday with a high around 80. More sunshine by Wednesday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Stay connected and stay productive with Rapid Radios. Business owners trust Rapid Radios for instant, reliable team communication with nationwide LTE coverage, push-to-talk convenience, and room for up to 200 units on one feed. Keeping connected's never been easier.
Order now at rapidradios.com. I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable, nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or our Brookfield store off I-94 and Blue Mound Road. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires, it's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com. You got to get to Built Right today. Dan here from Built Right plus $1 million clearance sell-off continues for a limited time. It's the best time to refresh your home locally. Built Right has the most experienced team and the best selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses. 4 generations, 97 years strong. Make sure to tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty.
We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years.
And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Wisconsin. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
It seems like the White House spent pretty much all day just debunking Democrat lies. First, about devastating flooding in Texas, and then about what it is that ICE is actually doing in its deportation movement. The Central Texas flooding lies are especially pernicious. There are dozens of people, many of them small children, dead after widespread and incredibly fast-moving floodwaters swept across the region. Without even thinking about it, Democrats from across the country, led by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, started blaming President Trump's cuts to NOAA, which haven't even taken place yet, and the National Weather Service, which did not impact the affected region in Texas for those deaths. This happened almost exactly 20 years from when they were blaming George W. Bush for Hurricane Katrina. It doesn't get more craven than that. Your daily Trump date coming up as the president prepares to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump saying yesterday that a deal between Israel and Hamas to end the war is very close. Is the art of the deal at play? Can the president and the prime minister close? Find out in just a second. First, the sizzling summer cash contest. Word this hour, green. 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 You got 55 minutes, rather 55 past the hour is the deadline to go to our website and enter the keyword green to enter the contest for this hour. Realize last hour I didn't ever give you the phone number in order to contact the Dan O'Donnell Show. Did not matter. Holy cow, did our lines and our text line light up with a lot of people taking issue with not only what happened at Summerfest on its closing day, massive brawls, but also the muted way in which this was covered, this being the latest in a long, long line of incidents of extreme violence at Milwaukee's summer festivals. Little known fact to people who aren't from Milwaukee, it's known as Festival City because of all of the things that we have to do in the summertime. It is my very strong belief that A, this is not being reported on, or this is not being made a big deal of for the exact same reason that newspapers and websites no longer publish mug shots. It's because they don't want to appear racist, because it seemed as though nearly everyone involved in these brawls at Summerfest, just like everyone involved in the fights that marred past summertime festivals, was black. But I think there's also an element of protection of Summerfest, because the people who are spending big money to go see James Taylor or Led Zeppelin, Zeppelin's never actually played Summerfest, I don't think. I was just trying to think of a boomer band that charges an arm and a leg. The Who. I saw the Rolling Stones at Summerfest about a decade ago. They were fantastic. The last thing anyone wants to do is to scare people away from Summerfest, just like they were scared away from River Splash. River Splash disappeared. Summerfest understands what's going on, at least past leadership did. Do you think it was an accident that right around the same time there were issues of violence at the big gig as well as State Fair long around 2008 to 2010, 2011? The Midway, all of the rides at Summerfest disappeared and were replaced with the BMO Harris Pavilion, which, by the way, is a fantastic place to see a concert, provided you pay a little bit extra to sit down. I was there for Cake a week ago Friday. You could not even see the band. It was so crowded in the back. I was having a great time just talking to people and saying hi. There were a number of listeners who were there, and I had a good time, but you could not see a darn thing. I've sat down in one of the front rows years ago. I went to go see a band I loved while I was in college called Dispatch. Fantastic acoustics, just a great venue. But the major reason, whether it was stated or unstated, was Summerfest's organizers then knew they needed to get rid of the Midway because the Midway attracted people who were prone to violence, who were prone to disruptive behavior, who were prone to ruining otherwise a good time for everybody else there. We will have more on this story as we get it. But for now, it is time to take a look back at the day at the White House. We know people are driving home from work after a long day, first day back after the long 4th of July holiday. You want to get caught up on all things Trump. That's why we created for you a new segment called The Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
A whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump will greet Netanyahu at the White House in about an hour and 15 minutes. They're expected to sit down for a dinner, the White House announcing the visit in a press release Sunday, when the president himself said that Israel and Hamas are very close to a plea deal. The prime minister has touched down. This is ahead of what's expected to be a very frank and very extensive meeting. If there is any sort of joint press conference before that dinner while we're still on the air, you will hear at least a portion of it on the Dan O'Donnell Show. President Trump posting today on social media excerpts from form letters dictating new tariff rates to at least 14 countries: Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Kazakhstan, South Africa, Laos, Myanmar, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Tunisia, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Serbia, Cambodia, and Thailand. Now, the president said the deadline for this is August 1st for these tariffs to take effect. Remember, initially in April on Liberation Day, the president said he wanted to give time for these nations to negotiate new, fairer trade deals for the United States. The first ones that did, strangely enough, included China. Now, how well that deal is holding remains to be seen, but Vietnam and Great Britain, also two major trading partners that have already signed deals. This would, to me, indicate that the president believes that ahead of the original July 9th deadline, deals with those nations are very, very close. An active shooter armed with tactical gear and a rifle opened fire on Border Patrol agents as they arrived at an annex facility in McAllen, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley this morning. Agents and local police returned fire and killed the gunman. No federal agents were hit. One McAllen police officer was struck. He is in stable condition. Now, the clear motivation of this shooting, seeing as the gunman, who has been identified, he has ties to both Texas and Michigan, was a reference to the game Call of Duty and a gang. Get it? ICE is a gang. Now, this is eerily reminiscent of rhetoric that elected Democrats have been using against ICE agents since deportations began some months ago. Caroline Leavitt at today's White House press briefing demanded that Democrats turn down that rhetoric unless somebody will get killed.
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women. I would encourage AOC and other Democrats to actually meet with the United States Border Patrol. These are honorable Americans who are just simply trying to do their job to enforce the law. They go home to their families every night, just like we all do, and they deserve respect and dignity for trying to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to remove public safety threats from our communities. The White House is aware of the shooting that took place today in Texas, and we are working with the appropriate federal agencies to get to the bottom of what happened.
Leavitt also announced today that President Trump is going to be visiting flood-ravaged Texas later this week. She didn't offer specific details about exactly when or where that visit was going to be. Over the 4th of July, very, very fast-moving floodwaters killed at least 75 people. 95 are either dead or still missing. In Kerr County alone, officials reported 75 deaths, including 48 adults and 27 children. 95 are dead across 6 counties, but that's not entirely, I'm working off of a script from Fox News. That's not entirely accurate. That is dead or still missing. Unfortunately, the presumption is after this many days that those who are missing are still dead. Now, the hope is that they were erroneously reported as missing and they've since been reunited with their families. That takes some time to sort out, but suffice it to say that this was just absolutely a devastating natural disaster. That, ladies and gentlemen, your daily Trump date, and it was a natural disaster. It was, unfortunately, what is termed an act of God. I don't necessarily like that phraseology because it implies that God allowed those sweet little girls to be killed. There were a number of Girl Scouts and other, I think it was actually a Christian camp that was right on the banks of the river, and they were doing their annual 4th of July camping outing. These are girls as young as 7 and 8. The floodwaters rose so quickly, folks, and at such an early morning point where everybody would be asleep that it was almost impossible to react. I would strongly encourage, if you think, as Democrats have been suggesting, that somehow President Trump was responsible because it was he who was gutting Noah and gutting the National Weather Service that was responsible for this, I would encourage you to actually take a look at the facts. Trump's NOAA cuts don't take effect until the next fiscal year. NOAA is fully staffed. As far as the National Weather Service, as Caroline Leavitt put it in the White House press briefing today, every single one of them that would have been predicted, obviously the Milwaukee National Weather Service would not be issuing predictions for the San Antonio area, but the San Antonio region, all of the affected centers were completely staffed.
These offices were fully staffed. The San Angelo office was fully staffed with 12 forecast meteorologists. There were no vacancies. The San Antonio office was operating with 11 forecasters. And as Brian said, the union themselves said that there was adequate staffing. So I think those words speak for themselves and the numbers speak for themselves. This was a once in a century flash flood, a tragic natural disaster, and the administration is doing all that we can on the ground to help these families during this time of need.
It is frankly unconscionable for Democrats to be blaming President Trump or Elon Musk or Republicans for this. The thinking is that because these centers, which were not fully staffed, although we know they are, Caroline Leavitt is absolutely correct. I've got an Associated Press article in front of me that actually says Weather Service had extra staffers. The National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, said a representative. When the office typically would have 2 forecasters on duty during clear weather, they had up to 5. There were extra people in here that night, and that's typical in every Weather Service office. You staff up for an event and bring people in on overtime and hold people over, he said. This notion that there weren't adequate warnings given is also a bold-faced lie. Here's Leavitt again.
On July 2nd, there were initial notices of potential weather and flooding risks were issued. On July 3rd, escalating warnings throughout the day with a flood watch issued at 1:18 p.m. And then later at 6:10 p.m. on July 3rd, the Weather Prediction Center warned of excessive rainfall and a high likelihood of flash flooding. At 6:22 p.m. July 3rd, National Weather Center issued a hydraulic warning highlighting considerable flooding risks, including in Caryville County. And then there were the timely flash flood alerts at 11:41 p.m., 1:14 a.m., and then another flash flood emergency warning issued at 4:03 a.m. just before the flood hit. So those were all of the warnings that went out to the affected area and region.
Chuck Schumer, Democrats' leader in the Senate, said earlier that he wanted to see investigations into the National Weather Service in Texas related to warning coordination. He said, these are the experts responsible for modeling storm impacts, monitoring rising water levels, issuing flood warnings, and coordinating directly with local emergency managers about when to warn the public and issue evacuation orders. To put it plainly, they help save lives. Schumer accused Trump of hampering that effort, if not, and other Democrats were far more blunt in their accusations, if not Trump being responsible for those deaths by supposedly gutting the National Weather Service. It's a lie. It's a provable lie. These people had adequate warning, but I would strongly urge you again, go to social media, look at the videos. It's incredible and terrifying how fast that water rose. There was one point at which the water rose. It completely submerged a freeway in about 4 minutes. And I mean massive rushing water that would have, had there been cars on that road, swept them away. Oh, and by the way, for those idiots who are claiming that this is caused by climate change, the exact same river flooded with very, very similarly deadly results in 1987. This unfortunately happens. It is a weather event. It is a natural disaster. It is not anything that sadly could have been prevented. conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and we will be right back to it.
Is coming right back.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Southbound on 894 at Greenfield, you got a vehicle fire that blocks the right lane, partially blocking that entrance ramp as well. Traffic moving very slow through the area. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Is it time for a new job? Then it's time for Express Employment Professionals. Quit the endless online job search. Enlist the pros. Let a local recruiter from one of their 870 locations help. And Express never charges job seekers a fee. Go to ExpressPros.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
The only agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. What options are there if I wanted to buy my next home before I sell my current home?
John, we have multiple options for this very, very common situation. Some people don't want to get stuck owning 2 homes, and most importantly, don't want to end up homeless. So we have options, and we can help.
How do you help with that?
The number one option is a quick cash offer. We call it our instant offer program, where we just make you an offer. It's cash. We coordinate the closing date with the new purchase and move on from there. The other option is with our preferred lenders, taking out a bridge loan, or what we call interim financing, where we squeeze out some of the equity in the current home and use that to purchase the next one. So bottom line, we have options, and we promise you will not be homeless or get stuck owning 2 homes for very long at all.
Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 5-star reviews.
Veterans, have you explored your benefits lately? The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs stands ready to serve Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. With our partners like your local county veteran service officer, we can help access the benefits you've earned and the support you need. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's wisvets.com. Message sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
Hi, it's Jay. Did you know that Coal Investment Group is now Creative Planning? Coal has been helping clients with custom retirement plans for over 37 years and has now expanded the depth and breadth of services by joining Creative Planning. They provide full-service wealth management, which includes investments, taxes, estate plans, insurance, and business owner service. That's creativeplanning.com.
Paid for by Creative Planning, an SEC registered investment advisor. The speaker statements are not an endorsement of the firm.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio. And listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows.
Before the 4th of July flooding in central Texas, do you remember the last time America suffered just devastating floods? Last fall, Asheville, North Carolina, which is still recovering from the remnants of a hurricane that did just incredible amounts of damage. Now, you might recall that back then candidate Donald Trump referenced the fact that FEMA's disaster relief fund was projected to face a big funding deficit, forcing it to implement what is known as immediate needs funding procedures just to be able to get through the hurricane season and the rest of the fiscal year. FEMA provided a whole lot of aid over the past several years to Ukraine. It was also providing other foreign assistance. And you might remember President Biden giving residents of North Carolina $750 checks in order to meet their immediate needs. Many people saw that as a huge insult. But not CNN's Dana Bash. She was reporting on air that President Trump was, in fact, lying about FEMA. And how dare he say something that isn't true when people are struggling, people are dying, people need to be rescued by FEMA following flooding.
The former president is falsely accusing federal relief agencies of maliciously withholding and misusing aid. Take a listen.
We give foreign countries hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're handing North Carolina $750. If you want a president who won't even try to save you when the floodwaters are rising, vote for Kamala.
What you just heard is not true. They're rumors and they're lies, and they are hurting the very people that thousands of FEMA emergency responders are trying to help. It's raw politics and dangerous politics.
That was a quick montage we put together of Dana Bash. If it was a lie, if it was a rumor, why in October, the start of fiscal year 2025, did Congress have to pass a stopgap spending measure replenishing the DRF, Disaster Relief Fund, with $20 billion that went into effect October 1st, 2024, first day of the new fiscal year? Trump was rather obviously telling the truth. Now, I want you to contrast that reporting. Same reporter, same network, same natural disaster, deadly flooding, this time in Texas. Here's Dana on the Texas flooding.
Just talking about the federal government and even the local government, 2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
If you were listening to this show 10 minutes ago, you would have heard Caroline Leavitt just recite all of the warnings that were given. In fact, here she is again. These are all the warnings that were given. Dana Bash, alleged news network CNN, saying there were no warnings.
On July 2nd, there were initial notices of potential weather and flooding risks were issued. On July 3rd, escalating warnings throughout the day with a flood watch issued at 1:18 p.m. And then later at 6:10 p.m. on July 3rd, the Weather Prediction Center warned of excessive rainfall and a high likelihood of flash flooding. At 6:22 p.m. July 3rd, National Weather Center issued a hydraulic warning, highlighting considerable flooding risks, including in Caryville County. And then there were the timely flash flood alerts at 11:41 p.m., 1:14 a.m., and then another flash flood emergency warning issued at 4:03 a.m. just before the flood hit. So those were all of the warnings that went out to the affected area and region.
Didn't matter to either Dana Bash, George Stephanopoulos on his ABC Sunday show got into the act, blaming Trump, repeating the lie, not rumor, lie, that the National Weather Service was somehow understaffed, and as a result of that, there could be no adequate warning given. The reality is this has been the playbook of the national news media for 20 years. On August 23rd, 2005, the most devastating hurricane in modern history hit New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina. And before it seemed the levees even broke, George W. Bush was being blamed. Fantastic recap by the National Review's Dan McLaughlin. What Democrats and progressive bloggers discovered in late August and September of 2005 was that speed and dialing up the rhetorical temperature could turn a natural disaster into a story of partisan failure. The point is not that the Bush administration did nothing wrong. There were entirely fair criticisms, or that particular false narratives from myths emanating from the Superdome to fundamental misunderstandings of the causes of the flooding were so damaging. The point is that Katrina did so much lasting political damage to Bush, who had evaded many efforts until then to bring him down, that the Katrina model became the default response to natural disasters. A rush to fill the gaps in public knowledge with a narrative that could outrun those facts precisely because it was swiftly adopted while emotions were running highest. Just as the print media developed an obsession with recreating the Watergate model that has never really left us. For 20 years now, people on blogs and social media have been trying to recreate the Katrina moment whenever a number of Americans die from a disaster. I will actually add to Dan McLaughlin writing beautifully at National Review. Mainstream news anchors like Dana Bash and like George Stephanopoulos and like any number of the national nightly news anchors you will hear from tonight are trying to do the same even after they're presented with the indisputable facts. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, I am going to do something that is probably against my better judgment. Talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Really? After all that, there was no client list? We'll discuss. Don't miss this.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 894, a vehicle fire blocks the right lane at Greenfield. The on-ramp there is also shut down with equipment. 94 eastbound, a stall blocking the left shoulder at 68th, heavy back to 84th. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's the summer savings event at the Lynch family of dealerships, and the deals are heating up. Take advantage of up to $10,000 off or 0% financing to approved credit on select models. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my good friends at Weather Pro Exteriors. Just had a chance to head over to West Allis and take a look at the Weather Pro Exterior showroom. It really is very, very cool what they've been able to do. And it reinforced for me just how important it is to go with a company like them locally, family-owned. Look, they look and feel like a big national company. They've got the infrastructure of what feels like a big national company, but they're 100% locally owned. They're locally focused and locally staffed. With Weather Pro Exteriors, they don't sub out your project to some chuck in a truck like a lot of companies do. They do everything in-house, and they take 100% of their profits, goes right back into the company for state-of-the-art equipment, on-site training to determine who is the very best at their craft. They hire only the best, and it shows in the job that they'll do for you. Whether it's roofing, whether it's exterior doors or siding, head to weatherproexteriors.com.
When Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting, I personally guarantee your satisfaction with every step from shopping through installation. I'm Flawless Flooring's president, Dave Brownsdorf, and I approve this message. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring, flawlessflooringllc.com.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission? Your comfort, health, and confidence.
Smile like you just don't care.
Because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Hotspots at home are sweaty, uncomfortable, and annoying. Your ducts are filthy and leaking cool air. Clean Living cleans ducts meticulously. Then Clean Living meticulously aeroseals your ducts. Upgrading summer is refreshingly cool. Get more out of your ducts. CleanLivingEnvironments.com.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
111 East Kilbourne, Milwaukee. CordellCordell.com.
A Generac automatic standby generator that kicks right in when your power goes out is great peace of mind. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like iHeart Comedy, clips from today's top comedians.
I didn't learn about countries in school. I learned about Tennessee. I learned about the states that touched us in case they attacked.
And the greatest of all time.
They don't even tell me how to get to Sesame Street. Who would want to live in a neighborhood like that? 6-foot pigeons walking around.
Try something different. iHeart Comedy.
Women are gatherers. We like to gather information about you, and then we hunt you.
Open the app and make iHeart Comedy a preset now.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame same stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis. And that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
For nearly 6 years now, the phrase Epstein didn't kill himself was something of a rallying cry to people on the right, and really anyone who wondered how some weird pedophile sex trafficker was able to ingratiate himself with some of the most powerful men on planet Earth, including Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, yes, President Trump, Bill Gates, and many more. Now, a lot of conspiracy theories about Epstein and his famed Lolita Express and Epstein Pedo Island were completely false. Basically, for about, almost 6 years now, any left-leaning Hollywood celebrity was alleged to have visited Epstein Island. No, there is no evidence. I don't know how this name kept getting out there. There is no evidence Tom Hanks went to Epstein Island. It seemed forever. Like any lib celeb who opened up his mouth. I saw about 15 articles about Alec Baldwin going to Epstein Island. No evidence of it whatsoever. I don't know. I would think the king's brother and the former president of the United States, who's most famous for having multiple affairs, one that eventually led to his impeachment, would have been big enough news. No, I don't believe that Trump was on the infamous client list, as Elon Musk suggested. How do I know that? The FBI under Trump's presidency was leaking everything it could to the media in an effort to destroy him during the Russia collusion investigation. You're really telling me if they were sitting on evidence that Trump was going on the Lolita Express to get with a bunch of 14-year-olds, they wouldn't have let that one slip? The FBI, under the direction of the very, very good Kash Patel and his deputy director, Dan Bongino, released a complete report late last night. Yes, on the 4th of July weekend. Yes, released that exact time period to do exactly what you think it would do, be buried on the weekend when people weren't paying attention. It was apparently leaked to Axios yesterday afternoon. They released, as part of this investigation, hours upon hours upon hours, apparently 10 hours of security footage from outside Epstein's cell. The only thing suspicious is a small elderly woman who looks suspiciously like Hillary Clinton tiptoeing in. No, I'm just kidding. It looked like she had a big thing of chloroform. She was dressed like the Hamburglar. No, there's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now people are seizing on this idea that there's a minute of footage missing. You're telling me Epstein, who died by hanging, could have been murdered and had his body propped up in a noose in 60 seconds? Less than 60 seconds. It's not possible. But I'm going to take you back, as the FBI is now saying, there was no client list. There was no extensive record of who was on the Lolita Express, who went to the island. There was just nothing. I want to take you back to an interview that John Roberts of Fox News did with one Attorney General Pam Bondi, February 21st, year of our Lord, 2025.
I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz. And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Well, it turns out you needed to check back on July 6th, randomly on a Sunday afternoon after the 4th of July, as everybody in the world is driving back from the lake. Today, Peter Doocy over at Fox News, for my money, the very best White House reporter working today, proving that he's not just a partisan shill, grilled Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt over that interview.
The FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
Now, I don't want to sound like a shill for the government here. I actually think that's exactly what she was referring to. I think because subsequently she referred to the reports, the full reports on the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassinations. Basically, if you were a public figure and your last name ended with K and you were commonly known by your first two initials in addition to that, watch out because you were basically marked. 1963 to 68. Bad times for the three-letter Ks. I want you to listen to this soundbite from the Roberts interview again. Here's what I think. Bondi had no earthly idea what those reports were going to show. She had only been sworn in, I believe, a couple of days earlier. I had it written down what day she was actually sworn in as Attorney General. Forgive me, I don't have it in front of me. She was, this is a classic sales mistake, overpromising when she didn't know if she was going to be able to deliver. She was sworn in February 5th, so about 2 weeks earlier. Meanwhile, she's got underlings writing reports on JFK, RFK, MLK, Jeffrey Epstein, working on releasing declassifying files. By the way, the JFK assassination files only served to further prove that it was a lone gunman. And the only conspiracy was the conspiracy I subscribe to, the conspiracy of embarrassment. That everything was classified and covered up following the JFK assassination because the FBI, Secret Service, and CIA were all aware of this communist sympathizing kook who had just come back from the Soviet Union and was apparently talking relatively openly about how much he hated Kennedy. He was on their radar. They let him slip through their fingers. He kills Kennedy at Dealey Plaza in Dallas in '63. They cover everything up. They try their best to obfuscate congressional investigations because J. Edgar Hoover in particular knew how bad this looked. He was worried that this would weaken his grip on power in Washington, D.C. Epstein, I actually do believe, based on everything I have read, did kill himself. I don't believe he was murdered. I do believe he killed himself because he knew his life was over. He did not want to testify against his friends. I also believe that while people like Clinton and Prince Andrew and any number of other members of the world elite were being plied with prostitutes, especially young prostitutes that were being procured by his Madam Ghislaine Maxwell, he did not intentionally kidnap or try to traffic 12 and 13-year-old girls. Virginia Giuffre, who, yes, just killed herself years after saying, I would never kill myself, equally suspicious. I'm not going to deny that. Also, no evidence that there was any foul play there. She was 16, 17. With all of the girls that were being recruited from all over, I think it's more likely that maybe unintentionally, maybe Epstein and his racket, his operation, didn't really care if they were underage. I do believe it's abundantly clear, because he had cameras everywhere, that he was blackmailing these people. I absolutely believe that. I also believe he was a little too smart then to keep a running list. Hey, Bill Clinton, sex with 12-year-old. Great video. I'm going to blackmail him for $500,000. Doesn't work like that. Are there flight logs that would have showed Clinton? Yes, we've already seen them. I don't think there's anything else to release. Frankly, I think Pam Bondi just got ahead of her skis, or over her skis, whatever the phrase is. I don't ski jump, so I wouldn't know. And she said, well, yes, of course, there must be a client list, when she had no idea that there actually wasn't. This is the dangerous thing about saying stuff you don't know, because it has the tendency to advance conspiracy theories that aren't true, but only get bigger when people in power make mistakes about them.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Heavy delays southbound on 894 from the Zoo interchange to Greenfield. Right lane blocked with vehicle fire cleanup. The on-ramp is also closed with emergency equipment. 43 northbound at Walnut, a stall blocks the center lane. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service. Their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
An auction to sell your house? And it includes a 2.99% full-service MLS listing? Come on. Put simply, the absolute best way to sell your home is a Redefined Realty MLS listing enhanced by the EasyHomeBidder.com auction bidding platform. You get max profits and minimal contingencies. Buyers and sellers both love winning at auction. Traditional real estate agents put houses on MLS, then talk sellers into accepting offers. It's always been done that way. While buyers can still make a traditional offer, auctions powered by EasyHomeBidder.com allow every interested party to compete for your home through MLS and at auction on your terms. Sellers never lose a penny again. Dorothy's Ruby Slippers would not have sold for $28 million without an auction. Similarly, the maximum price of your home will only be achieved at auction. Traditional real estate agents sell ordinary MLS services. Redefine's Mentors of Winning enhance the home selling process, combining auction and MLS. RedefinedRealty.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Real estate's future is now. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
You got to get to Built Right today. Dan here for my friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's Made in America mattress celebration continues for a limited time. Their one location saves you time and money, and they make it easy to shop and easy to buy. Built Right beats any big box national or local chain store, employee free store, online retailer, or warehouse club because they have the guaranteed lowest prices. Built Right has the best value selection and most experienced team, over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best mattress brands made in the USA: Heirloom, Therapeutic, Restonic, Schiffman, and Gold Bond. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find flippable and heavy-duty mattresses. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Some things are easier said than done, like packing your carry-on and getting everything to fit. Whew. Other things are easier done than said, like getting $350 cash back when you open a new TrueStone checking account, so you can bag back some cash back to stash in your backpack. Hard to say, but easy to do, because our digital switch kit makes setting up your new TrueStone checking account practically effortless. Easy and $350? It's true, because we're TrueStone. Open by December 31st, and within 60 days, set up a $5,000 direct deposit and e-statements. Membership required.
I'm Josh Parks, owner of Infinity Exteriors. 9 out of 10. Brand new roofs can't pass a simple manufacturer warranty inspection. Every Infinity roof does.
MJ, Josh's partner here, protecting homeowners for decades to come, always installing roofs, siding, and windows to better than manufacturer warranty specifications is how we built Infinity to the most successful exterior remodeling company in the Midwest.
It's your home, it's your roof. With Infinity, it's all about you.
Infinity passes on buying power no other roofer has, saving you money.
Infinity provides absolute transparency in pricing with our proprietary app, showing exactly what Infinity is going to do and exactly what everything will cost, line by line, real time.
No waiting 3 days to a week for a quote.
If you like what you see,
and you will,
Infinity can schedule your new roof, siding, or windows, including financing, right there in your home. No hassle, no waiting.
Warranted, guaranteed quality. Installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
That's InfinityRoofing.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again.
Here's why money. Warshevsky.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The funeral for Kendall Corder. He's the Milwaukee police officer killed in the line of duty. Will take place later on this week. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
Officer Corder will be laid to rest this Friday as services will be open to the public. Visitation is from 11 to 2 at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield, and that will be followed by the funeral itself at 2:30. Afterward, the burial will be at Wisconsin Memorial Park.
A Greendale police officer will be okay after their vehicle hit a light pole at 76th and Rawson in Franklin last night. That officer was pursuing a vehicle when a different car pulled in front of the squad, causing it to swerve to avoid a crash. And Summerfest has issued a statement addressing fights that happened on Saturday night, saying they were isolated altercations and were taken care of through a coordinated response between festival security and the Milwaukee Police Department. There were several videos posted to social media depicting multiple fights. One of them showed a guest actually throwing a garbage bin into a brawl. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers are home tonight. They open up a series against the Dodgers at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Cooler this afternoon with temperatures only in the low 70s lakeside and around 80 inland. More clouds tonight with lows in the 60s, then scattered showers and thunderstorms possible Tuesday with the high around 80. More sunshine by Wednesday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association.
The International Hot Rod Association Outlaw Nitro Series is back. 5 events, 4 locations. 1 explosive season. Funny cars. Promo. You are in the stands. Get your tickets now at ihra.com. ihra.com.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message, different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing backed by auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for relief. Reset Restore MD. rnrmd.com.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The 2 main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the 2 areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. At Grandview Homes, our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
Managed IT support from Central Office Systems is qualified technicians.
Answering your call within 1 minute.
Grateful to support your business.
Solving any IT problem as fast as humanly possible.
Network security, network support.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
Co-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Joe Still with your closing business report. The major averages fell today after President Trump announced new tariffs on imports from at least 7 countries, including 25% levies on imports from Japan and South Korea. The new tariffs are set to begin August 1st. President Trump also said that any country aligning itself with the anti-American policies of BRICS will face a 10% tariff. Elsewhere, shares of Tesla fell over 6% after CEO Elon Musk said he would form a new political party called American Party. Musk has been feuding with President Trump, who called the new party ridiculous. On the day, the Dow was down 422 to 44,406. The S&P 500 fell 49, and the Nasdaq was lower by 188 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Joe Still.
Massive attacks on ICE facilities, riots, don't you dare call them insurrections, attended by Democrats who were arrested, at least one of whom. You also have a judge right here in Milwaukee using her power to shield an illegal immigrant violent criminal from ICE. The latest incident just this morning, a left-wing psycho shows up at an ICE facility at McAllen attempting to murder ICE agents. Fortunately, he was shot down by responding law enforcement officers and some of those agents before he was able to kill anyone. There was a local law enforcement agent who was injured in this morning's shooting. I said we were postponing the Unhinged Liberal of the Day, first for time, yes, but also because it's such a perfect lead-in to our extended discussion of this craziness. Before we get to that, though, your final chance for today to win $1,000 in our sizzling summer cash contest. Nationwide keyword is cash, C-A-S-H, cash. You've got until 55 past the hour, so plenty of time to go to our website and enter the keyword cash to enter the contest for this hour. All right. At long last, delayed by an hour and a half, but no less anticipated, it is time now to name your Unhinged Liberal of the Day.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's Unhinged Liberals of the Day are the liberals who are showing up at Democrat town hall meetings across the country and saying that their elected representatives and fellow travelers on the left need to, quote, get shot to support the anti-Trump resistance. Big story from Andrew Solander at Axios.com. House Democrats told Axios they see a growing anger among their base that has in some cases morphed into a disregard for American institutions, political traditions, and even the rule of law. Oh, House Democrats are just seeing this because we on the right have seen this for a decade and a half now. The idea that we're going to save every norm and that we're not going to play a Republican's game, I don't think that's resonating with voters anymore, said one House Democrat. Another told Axios that a sense of fear and despair and anger among voters puts us in a different position where we can't keep following the norms of decorum. Axios spoke to more than 24 House Democrats for this story, with many requesting anonymity to offer candid insights about their interactions with constituents and activists. They want anonymity because they're terrified that their own constituents are so nuts that they'll start targeting them. What we're hearing, this back to Axios, the grassroots wants more. Some of them have suggested, are you ready for this, folks? Some of them have suggested what we really need to do is be willing to get shot when visiting ICE facilities or federal agencies, a third House Democrat told Axios. Our own base is telling us that what we're doing is not good enough, that there needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and public. Where'd my music go, Eric? We're still on the Unhinged Libs. Oh, you thought I gave you the hand signal to go down. No, I gave this signal because I can't believe this is me dropping my hands to the table in abject despair that the left really is this sociopathic. A fourth House Democrat said constituents have told them civility isn't working and to prepare for violence to protect our democracy. A fifth House Democrat told Axios that people online have sent me crazy bleep, told me to storm the White House and stuff like that, though they added there's always people on the internet saying crazy stuff. A sixth House Democrat said that when they try to persuade voters to channel their frustration into a focus on winning back Congress in 2026, quote, people who are angry don't accept that. They're angry beyond things. It's like the Roman Colosseum. People just want more and more of this spectacle, said a seventh lawmaker. Are we ready to keep going? I've still got like 3 minutes of this music. An eighth House Democrat said, what I have seen is a demand that we get ourselves arrested intentionally or allow ourselves to be victims of violence. And a lot of times that's coming from economically very secure white people. A ninth lawmaker told Axios, I actually said in a meeting, when they light a fire, my thought is to grab a fire extinguisher. And someone at the table said, have you tried gasoline? Make no mistake, folks. Liberals want the exact same sorts of attacks that we saw just a couple of hours today after this insane piece was published. All of these libs, and frankly, the Dem lawmakers, speaking on condition of anonymity to Axios, who seem to be subscribing to some of this, at least in theory, they are your unhinged liberals of the day. Today's gunman at the Rio Grande ICE facility, identified as Ryan Luis Mosquedo. Authorities located his Chevy two-door vehicle in a parking lot after he was gunned down while trying to shoot and kill ICE agents. They found the Chevy with the Latin phrase Cortus Die spray painted in black on the driver's door. The phrase is used as the name of the anarchist terror group led by Raul Menendez in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Strike Team. McAllen police officer Ishmael Garcia, who has 10 years of service, was wounded on the knee during the shooting. It's unknown if he was struck by Mosqueda or friendly fire. Now, this attack came just about 4 days after a North Texas police officer was recovering after being shot outside an ICE facility in Johnson County. Happened shortly before 11 o'clock, Friday, the 4th of July. First responding officer tried to engage the suspect. He was immediately fired upon. A federal law enforcement source told local TV station KTV TV on Saturday that 8 suspects were arrested in connection with the incident, including some dressed in body armor. Early reports show more than a dozen people wearing masks and black clothing vandalized security cameras in cars parked outside the detention facility. The group then set off fireworks, apparently trying to lure officers to the scene so they could be ambushed. Now, this comes just a couple of weeks after, you might recall, all of the violence at that ICE facility in Atlanta, which itself came several weeks after a number of Democrats got themselves arrested, including a member of Congress. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was originally arrested but let go without charges. This congresswoman did face criminal charges after she appeared to elbow or strike an ICE agent or other member of the security detail at the ICE facility in New Jersey that they and a mob of people had stormed. On the 4th of July, on the Joy Reid podcast, Pramila Jayapal, who's a member of the Squad, Washington State Rep, far left Dem, said nothing inspires her more on this Independence Day than mobs of people threatening ICE agents.
Some of the most inspiring things have been when people encircle courtrooms and refuse to allow ICE agents in. There are all kinds of nonviolent resistance tactics that we have to use.
Oh, yes. A mob of people encircling an ICE agent trying to make a lawful arrest. That's real nonviolent. That's not designed to be a show of or provocation to force. No, not at all. The rhetoric is simply out of control. Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz at a graduation ceremony at, I believe, University of Minnesota back in May said Trump was using his own personal Gestapo to round up American citizens. Byron Donalds, member of the House, grilled him on it a month later.
You said earlier that the ICE agents under the orders of President Trump are a modern-day Gestapo. Do you realize how disgusting a phrase that is, considering the history of Nazi Germany? Would you like to recant that statement?
What I said, Congressman, and I have a long history of supporting law enforcement, I said President Trump was using them as his modern-day Gestapo, not identifying who you are, coming up in unmarked vans, taking people away.
Yeah, and as Max Frost, Generation Z, he is, I believe, the youngest man currently serving in Congress. He's a far-left radical from Florida. He said not only was ICE engaging in kidnapping, they were doing human trafficking.
Donald Trump ran on this mass deportation thing, but the thing everyone needs to realize is deportation is a process. It's a legal process. Oftentimes it can take weeks, if not months, up to a year, depending on the case. And what's going on right now is actually not mass deportation even, because people aren't being given due process. There is no legal process for people. We have ICE federal agents pulling up, terrorizing our communities, hopping out of unmarked vans, stealing, and yes, kidnapping people, not giving them their day in court, and yes, human trafficking them to other nations, other countries around the entire world.
Human trafficking them. As if that wasn't enough. We had a massive multi-day riot in Los Angeles when ICE was conducting, again, totally legal enforcement and deportation operations. And it should be reminded to the general public that ICE does not deport. ICE simply rounds these people up. There were days worth of riots. Days worth. ICE agents were targeted. They were doxxed. Democrats want to know, well, why? Why do they wear masks? Why do they? It's because they would be marked for death, as we saw later today, if people figured out who they were and where they live, thanks to rhetoric like this from Gavin Newsom.
Why are they masked? What are you afraid of? If they're doing your job, it's to increase stress. It's to increase anxiety. You said it. Masked men, disproportionately men, in unmarked cars without identifying themselves, or at least difficult to even identify, from all of these multi-letter agencies that even if you're in the business of government, you don't even understand what half of these agencies do and who they are. And you're being quite literally thrown in the back of a car, whether you're a citizen or not, and they'll figure it out later. That's not America. That's not what our founding fathers lived and died for.
It isn't, and it also isn't happening. American citizens aren't getting rounded up. This is paranoid fear-mongering designed to do exactly what happened this morning, exactly what very nearly happened on the 4th of July, the murder of ICE agents. No. They don't condone violence of any kind. They just constantly refer to their political opponents as Hitler, as Nazis, as anyone who dares to enforce the law as their own personal brown shirts. And then they say it is our duty as free citizens to resist. No kings, you might recall, was the tagline of their protests. How about this from Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu, also far left radical, so upset that ICE would dare to conduct federal law enforcement operations in her city that she said the only group that I know of that hides their face is a neo-Nazi one.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks. We know that there are other groups that routinely wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Mayor, just to clarify, are you comparing ICE, you said, to NSC 131, the neo-Nazi group? Are you comparing them to a neo-Nazi group?
What I said is that Boston Police and no police department that I know of at the local level routinely wears masks.
No police department has had to since the Summer of Love George Floyd riots, because no law enforcement agency has been so specifically marked for violence as this one has by increasingly unhinged and openly violent rhetoric, all coming from the political left. You might remember a woman we featured as Unhinged Liberal of the Day, who I said could very easily be the Unhinged Liberal of the Year. Her name is Cynthia Rodriguez. She's the mayor of Cudahy, not Wisconsin, but California. It's in South Los Angeles County. She actually openly called for Latin gangs to violently defend their turf from ICE agents.
I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles. 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? Because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Florencia. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. It's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our people. And like, where you at?
That is Cynthia Gonzalez. I'm sorry, I mistakenly identified her, Cynthia Rodriguez. Cynthia Gonzalez, mayor of Cudahy, California, a couple of weeks ago. Incidentally, I know a lot of Latino guys, Latina gals. Not one of them talks with an accent that makes every single thing they say sound like a question. What is it with liberal Latina women who accentuate everything they say? So they try to sound extra Latina, or, if you will, Latinx. Nobody talks like that, just like nobody says Latinx. This also, women like this are precisely why Latinos and Latinas, by the thousands, tens of thousands, are joining our side, because they know theirs is nuts. This is sociopathic behavior, not just in what I consider to be coded calls for violence. Referring to your political enemies as Nazis and saying you must resist them. In the case of this nut job, saying, hey, all you cholos, go out there with your submachine guns and open fire. And then to have people do it. And to have Democrats openly standing with them. LA Mayor Karen Bass did just that today. We'll get into that when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 4145 from Good Hope to the Zoo, taking 17 minutes just past Appleton. You got a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane. 4394 southbound after Beecher, a crash blocks the left shoulder. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association.
The International Hot Rod Association Outline Nitro Series is back. 5 events, 4 locations. 1 explosive season. Funny cars. Promo. You are in the stands. Get your tickets now at IHRA.com. That's IHRA.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Registration's open for the 16th annual Packers 5K Run Walk, presented by Amplify Health by Bellin, and 1K Kids Run, presented by CareSource. The 5K is at 8 a.m. Saturday, July 19th. The 1K starts at 6 p.m. on Friday, July 18th. Run through the streets of Green Bay around the rubber track of Lambeau Field, finishing on a replica 50-yard line. All 5K participants get a Packers 5K Run tech shirt, a bib number, and timing chip. All 1K kids get a t-shirt, logo bag, and medal. For more, go to packers.com/5K.
Hi, it's Jay. Did you know that Coal Investment Group is now Creative Planning? Coal has been helping clients with custom retirement plans for over 37 years and has now expanded the depth and breadth of services by joining Creative Planning. They provide full-service wealth management, which includes investments, taxes, estate plans, insurance, and business owner services. Visit creativeplanning.com to schedule your introductory meeting. That's creativeplanning.com.
Paid for by Creative Planning, an SEC registered investment advisor. The speaker's statements are not an endorsement of the firm.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Transform your home with Shaw Vinyl Plank Flooring. The Hillcrest series is waterproof and offers superior protection to stains and foot traffic. Save big money on all Shaw Vinyl Plank Flooring at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368. At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or our Brookfield store off I-94 and Blue Mound Road. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all. iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Just today, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass attempted to stop an ICE deportation enforcement action, joining a mob of people who showed up after they heard, perhaps via this new ICE Stop app, which will actually tell you in real time where ICE agents are, an app shamefully promoted last week on air by CNN. Large group shows up to try to stop ICE agents, something that we heard made Pramila Jayapal feel very inspired. Listen to this nonsense from last week.
Some of the most inspiring things have been when people encircle courtrooms and refuse to allow ICE agents in. There are all kinds of nonviolent resistance tactics that we have to use.
So one of those totes nonviolent resistance tactics when a mob of people shows up totally not to intimidate ICE agents who are just doing their job. The mayor of Los Angeles showed up today.
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable. Just wait and see. We'll be leaving soon.
They need to be leaving soon. This is unacceptable. Do I need to explain how due process works? Do I need to explain to them the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1996 again, which allows for expedited removals, which allows for the president to immediately revoke temporary protected status? I don't know if you knew this, folks. President Trump got a couple of massive legal victories, a big one from the United States Supreme Court that reaffirmed district judges can't stop these enforcement actions. The case was ostensibly about birthright citizenship, but the crux of the ruling, the holding of the court, was that district judges can't pretend that there's a due process right that's somehow being violated and issue a temporary injunction halting all deportations of a certain class of people, i.e. Venezuelans or Nicaraguans or something like that. The president and the secretary of state, who I think most people who have even a passing knowledge of how this country is governed, works at the behest and at the pleasure of the president, have tremendous power to expel alien enemies under the Alien Enemies Act. They have the right to revoke temporary protected status. They have the absolute right to remove undesirable aliens who have been charged with, arrested for, or convicted of crimes. Due process does exist, but it doesn't exist in the same way as it does for an American citizen who is arrested for or charged with a crime. Every single illegal, because it's simply unworkable, does not have the right to go before a judge. Simply put, it is not a right to exist illegally in the United States. In fact, it's a federal crime. Every single one of these people who has been deported or is being rounded up has already committed a crime. Think about it like this, libs, if you must. Due process is their arrest. They're informed at some point upon being taken into custody that they are in this country illegally, which is a violation of federal statute. Many have committed a federal felony by sneaking back in after a prior deportation or removal. Many have committed subsequent serious federal felony offenses, such as falsifying birth certificates, social security numbers, driver's licenses, and the like. And they are being informed that this is the evidence against you. You are being removed. You do not have the same right to present counter evidence because none of these people can. It is an open and shut case. You are in this country illegally. We can deport you because of it. And kudos to Tom Homan this morning on Fox News. America's borders are saying, frankly, it is beyond time for this heinous rhetoric demonizing brave men and women who I do believe are among the bravest law enforcement officers in this country right now because of how they are being targeted by America's opposition socialist party. He said, stop. Stop smearing them. Stop attacking them. Stop trying to dox them. And Democrats, stop encouraging this.
You're your typical protesters that go from protesters to criminals. The attack on ICE officers, you've covered it many times, is up nearly 700% now. We were talking 500% a couple weeks ago, so it continues. The rhetoric against the men and women of ICE is skyrocketing, especially by members of Congress. We have senators, we have Congress people that compare ICE to the Nazis, compare ICE to racists, and it just continues. So the public thinks, well, if a member of Congress can attack ICE, why can't we? So the rhetoric has to stop.
And that's it exactly. This coming from the exact same people who were convinced Donald Trump on January 6th, 2021, saying, now we are going to peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol and make our voices heard, was responsible for inciting violence on January 6th when a whole lot of those rioters had already left before his speech was even over. They're convinced he incited violence, but calling ICE agents Gestapo thugs who are trying to, at the behest of the new American Hitler, kidnap and human traffic American citizens, and it's your duty to rise up against them. That's not inspiring some of these left-wing psychopaths to do exactly what happened today, exactly what happened on Friday, exactly what keeps happening at ICE facilities. To say nothing of the countless times that ICE agents are doxxed online, that they are harassed in their private lives, that they are harassed while doing their jobs, that they are accosted by people who are showing up when they think an ICE enforcement action is going to happen. As a texter put it on the adventknows.com talk and text line, I'd say Democrats should call for civility, but when have Democrats ever actually been civil? Poignant question. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Stopping and going eastbound on 94 from Moreland all the way over to Hawley. Got westbound delays from the Marquette to the stadium. Southbound on 43 jammed in pockets from Capitol to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
When the temperature goes up, so do your expenses. More sunscreen, mist fans, and ice-cold adult beverages. Supplement your income by playing the nationwide Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest 9 times each weekday. Listen for a keyword to enter at newstalk1130.com, and you could win $1,000.
That would pay for so many cream puffs at the Wisconsin State Fair.
The Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest is presented by 13 North Kitchen and Cocktails on the river in Grafton. Bold flavors from scratch, exceptional service, relaxed atmosphere. 13northgrafton.com.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Valinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Valinsky.com to learn more.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Charged with an OWI, it's not just a ticket. It's on your record permanently and can affect your career or your ability to travel. One mistake shouldn't ruin your life. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. GrieveLaw.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel and industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why
Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond, from garages to new home offices. Our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
When people think sleep apnea, they think CPAP. Now at Advent, we do all we can to help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. And most sleep apnea sufferers who come to Advent are going to be able to avoid a CPAP altogether. Our unique Advent approach using simple in-office solutions can get your nose working and throat open all under one roof. You see, the root of every snoring and obstructive sleep apnea problem lies within the throat, nose, or both. At Advent, we know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. And convenient, ultra-effective in-office solutions that can do just that. And this is why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find a sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit weatherproexteriors.com today.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Store, Screen and Door.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like iHeart Comedy, clips from today's top comedians.
I didn't learn about countries in school. I learned about Tennessee. I learned about the states that touched us in case they attacked.
And the greatest of all time.
They don't even tell me how to get to Sesame Street. Who would want to live in a neighborhood like that? 6-foot pigeons walking around.
Try something different. iHeart Comedy.
Women are gatherers. We like to gather information about you, and then we hunt you.
Open the app and make iHeart Comedy a preset now.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Wisconsin.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Sorry if I don't see you. Remind me of my eyes cross you. Keep in mind I'm not here. I'm in a different zone.
Talk radio redefined. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Kudos to great friend of the program, my personal friend, law school classmate and friend of both my parents, Michael Hupy, who put up a substantial amount of money of his own to salvage some semblance of a 3rd of July lakefront display in Milwaukee. Very, very proud when he decided to do that. The city of Milwaukee County decided they weren't going to do anything. We actually reported exclusively in 2024 that the lakefront fireworks was going to be canceled. They said because of lack of sponsor interest. Really, it's because the county did not want to do it. largely because they didn't want to staff it. And also you've got some libs concerned with environmental impacts, which I'm not totally unsympathetic to when you're lighting fireworks off above the lake. I'd be more sympathetic if MMSD didn't dump millions of gallons of feces into our rivers and the lake every time it rains, but que sera, sera, right? Hupy stepped up, and by all accounts, the county put on a very cool show using his sponsor money. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel did a poll. Well, they asked for reader responses, and the overwhelming majority of their readers, who tend to be far more liberal than, for example, this audience, said, yeah, okay, the drone show was nice, but it's not the 4th of July, or in this case, the 3rd of July, without fireworks. My community did both, which I thought was pretty cool. Unfortunately, the show, which was scheduled for Saturday night, the final day of a 3-day 4th of July carnival festival thing. Weird. I'm in the suburbs, and the show went on without incident. Well, almost without incident. All right. It's New Berlin. You might have seen the news story. One of the aldermen there, who's actually a friend of mine, Joe Stribble, I owe him a text about what was going on here, posted an open letter on Facebook saying a bunch of volunteers quit because festival goers were being so rude to them. Multiple news stations picked this up and said, were you there? What was going on? This is the difference between New Berlin and Milwaukee. It's a massive news story when a couple of people are rude to parking volunteers in New Berlin. It's not a massive news story in Milwaukee when there are roving gangs of teenagers beating each other up on the final day of Summerfest. Go figure. But New Berlin did a drone show actually last night. I went. I thought it was awesome. I love drone shows. Fireworks, I think, are just cooler. They are objectively cooler. As a friend of mine said, very hilariously, drone shows are fireworks with pronouns. They may identify as fireworks. They may think they can replace fireworks on the 4th of July, but really, everybody knows they're not really fireworks. I was watching the video of the show on the 3rd, and it looked real cool. In addition to a fireworks display, maybe the drone show is on the 4th above Summerfest or something. There's a place for that for sure. The music is blaring. It is really cool. Fireworks will always be synonymous with the 4th of July. And if even the liberal far left bastions of Washington, D.C. and New York City, which is on the cusp of electing an honest to God commie as its next mayor, if they can do massive fireworks displays, we always gather at my brother-in-law's house to watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. He put on the New York display. CNN was carrying the New York fireworks. And then it was very cool. I'll give credit where credit is due. CNN did the 4th of July like most networks will do New Year's Eve, where they go from city to city. They have camera crews. They'll do musical performances. They actually did one from Summerfest that was pre-recorded from a couple of days earlier. And they'll show these cities' fireworks displays. And it was just very, very cool. New York's was incredible. Washington, D.C.'s was incredible. Did you see the picture of Trump? Absolutely awesome. He's on the White House veranda, the overhang, the window, and his arms are up, and there's red fireworks exploding in the entire screen in front of him. say this about the man less than a year after he delivered quite possibly the most iconic political image of our time. Him with his ear bloodied, fist in the air, yelling fight after he just got shot in the freaking head a couple of seconds earlier. Knows a little something about aesthetics. The guy just has banger after banger after banger of iconic images. Think about it. Him on the garbage truck. Him at McDonald's. The mug shot. The fight picture. Check out the fireworks one. It's all over social media. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll close up with a little bit more on this fireworks drone debate. Stay tuned.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
4145 northbound, going to be slow from Mayfair up to Hampton. You got southbound delays starting at Good Hope, clearing up south of Burleigh. Southbound 894, some delays from Oklahoma down to the Hale Interchange. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates. Rotted wood, foggy glass, hard to slide patio door. There's no need to replace if you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of not planning for the future can be devastating. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you ended up in the hospital without the ability to make your own medical decisions? Or what will happen to your family if you die without a will? Without a power of attorney, your family could face agonizing decisions without knowing what you wanted. You could undergo medical interventions you don't want, or worse, lie in limbo while medical staff tries to determine who should have the final say in what happens to you. When you're gone, your loved ones could end up in probate with legal battles, high court costs and fees, and family disputes over your assets. In probate, everyone can see your assets, from the government to your nosy neighbors. Plan today so you can have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't leave your family in chaos and confusion. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Visit GrieveCivilLaw.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at ManderCollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront, accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory Underload, Flawless Flooring, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective in people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move statewide.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
There used to be a day when the national news media prided itself on getting the story right. Those days are gone. Now it's slanted stories, unnamed sources, and fake news. The goal no longer is to inform you. The goal is to indoctrinate you. Here at News Talk 1130 WISN, our show hosts will give you straightforward information and honest analysis. That is our commitment, and that is our daily mission. News Talk 1130 WISN. Real life, real news, real good. We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Apparently, most people would have preferred that Milwaukee County go back to fireworks on the 3rd of July. I am one of them. They're never going to do that, folks. You do realize that, right? Unless a whole lot of local companies come together to underwrite them, and the backlash is so big, they're not going to do it. That's why I appreciate Michael Hupy stepping up to at least provide a drone show, but it's no substitute. Do you know why, by the way, we light off fireworks on the 4th of July? It's a tradition that dates back to July 4th, 1777. Philadelphia, the 1-year anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. The idea actually started with America's second president, a signer of the Declaration, John Adams, in a letter to his wife, Abigail, said that he envisioned every year America celebrating its independence with just grand spectacle, including, in his words, pomp and parade with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations. Those illuminations, the very next year, fireworks. Incidentally, John Adams sounds like he knew how to party. Pomp and parade, shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations. We pretty much have all of those. Pomp and parade, every community has a 4th of July parade. Shows, everybody's got some sort of performance, often during the parade, patriotic bands and music and that sort of thing. Games, most communities will have. Oh, by the way, I do have to give a shout out to my hometown of Hales Corners. Once again, putting on a great pomp parade, shows, games, sports, maybe not so much guns and illuminations. I once again emceed the Kitty Games this year, dressed as Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln. And yes, I was reciting the Gettysburg Address from memory all day. I got a picture up on my social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook, and Instagram if you'd like to see it. But really want to thank the village president, Dan Besson, Ian Thompson with the Hales Corners Lions, who organizes everything. Next year, I keep threatening to either march in their parade or do the announcing for it. Usually I'm hanging out with friends and going to cookouts all day, but I love doing what I do with the kids' costume parade and bike parade, the decorations and the Kitty Games every year. It's a great tradition. I certainly look forward to it, and just wanted to say thank you for the Village of Hales Corners having me again. They really do put on a great 4th of July. We are out of time on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Fear not, though, we are back tomorrow, 3:06. Make sure to join us then.
Listen to Jay